What up, YouTube? This your boy CM the Goat 5, man. Back with a new one, you know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. It's been a lot going on in the last few days. Well, in the last week, shall I say. So we're gonna get on into it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm saying? Um, Make sure you hit the notification bell so you can get all my notifications, when I'm on live and everything of that nature. Let me put all this stuff up here. And we're gonna talk about these California fires, man, wildfires, man, that's going on out there. It's been crazy, So let's get on into it. We'll show some of these videos. So make sure you smash that like button, man, and subscribe to the channel. Let's go. Let's include this on. Man.
Today's mom's birthday.
Hmm?
Today's mom's birthday.
I thought it was. I didn't know for sure. I'm doing the live. I'm being trying to do my live. I'm doing the live on these wildfires. Let's see. I'll get on into it here. Let me pull this video up.
Passport, birth certificates, things like that. But I have to be honest with you. I don't know why, but I had faith in the firefighters and in the helicopter pilots who are doing such a great job. And I also feel, look, emotional regulation is difficult at a time like this. And a sense of guilt that I knew so many people who completely lost their homes, some with insurance difficulties, some with good policies, some policies denied, recently canceled. And I'm thinking, I don't know. It is what it is. It's in God's hands. I'm not going to go and grab a bunch of things right now. I'm just going to drive. And, very, very basics, but I did not stuff my car.
Everybody has a different story, right? And there are some folks who don't even have the ability to get into a hotel or rent a house, and the like. So it's one of those things now. It's so incomprehensible. It's almost like for families and people, you take it moment by moment. After we get through this, it'll be day by day, week by week, and then we just have to do it together.
Yeah, and it's amazing to watch these drops on the air. It's just been incredible. Billy, we've got LAFD Captain Eric Scott on the line that we want to get to, but real quick, because he's listening, if there's any message you have or you want to share with the fire department.
Thank you very much, Captain, and keep up the good fight. We are grateful for all the efforts that you're putting out there, and God love you.
Billy Bush, thank you. Glad that you and your family are safe. We're thinking of you and wish you all well.
Be safe, Billy.
Bye, guys. Thanks. Keep up the good work.
Bye, Billy.
And send our love to your friends as well who lost their home. So sad to hear about that. As we mentioned, Captain Eric Scott joining us on the phone, one of those heroes that has been working nonstop to get the public informed, keep the public informed. Captain, thanks for being with us. Talk to us about what we're watching right now, the extraordinary power of the air in terms of how much it helps your firefight.
Captain Scott, can you hear us? Oh, I think we lost him again.
Wow.
If Captain Scott can hear us, we hope to get back to him. In the meantime, Bob and Maria, look at that. I mean, isn't this amazing to watch this? And a shout out to our photographer, Armando Hernandez, who's doing a beautiful job bringing us these pictures of it, too, in real time. Just spectacular.
These are those big tankers, right? The VLATs, or the very large air tankers.
Yeah, when you hear VLAT, you think that there's some really technical name with it, and it just is very large air tanker.
It just doesn't get old when you watch these, and Billy Bush kind of put it right. It fills you with pride. You know, you're watching like with all this heartache and devastation, and you know, it's just a show of power and strength and resolve, and you know, we have the ability to get through this. We have the ability to fight this.
And it's also a reminder, you know, at this time, as you mentioned, everybody's looking for somebody to blame, and we're in such a divided political world where people get different information from different universes and everybody's so against each other. I don't think there's any way that anybody could be against firefighters. You might be against some of the officials who are making decisions, but these men and women who are doing that back-breaking work, working hour after hour in all these different communities and literally saving lives and saving homes. It's one of the only things at this point that we as a community can all get together and get behind, and thank the heroism, especially of those pilots, Maria, who are really making a difference.
I know, they're flying against the most harrowing of circumstances. Right? They're having to fly up there where the winds are quite strong, even on a day like this, having to maneuver around some of those stronger gusts there, and through the smoke and everything, dropping that very important FOS check. For me, when I watch those drops, it's like a light at the end of the tunnel. It gives me the hope that, hey, this might be over sooner, you know, than we fear.
But to that point, can you talk about the winds that are not only coming tonight, and then the winds that are coming on Monday?
Yeah, the forecast is right on track, which for the most part has been good. It's been advantageous, I think, for the most part, for the firefighters. We have had some winds that have been consistently blowing out of the northeast, 10 to 20 miles an hour. There are those pockets where you're getting some of those stronger winds, some of those canyons, you know, those winds funnel down the mountains and funnel through those canyons and passes. Strong. Those are
mountain waves.
Mountain waves, yeah. A little different, the mountain waves that we talked about earlier this week.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So Tuesday, we had such a recipe in place. Wave. We had every level in the atmosphere. You know, weather and the atmosphere is so different, right? At each altitude. And so on Tuesday, Wednesday, we just had high pressure at the surface, high pressure along very dense air mass, and it just helped that air to just drive faster, fast down them, and it provided us with those explosive, really fierce and ferocious winds that were clocking in at like 90, 95 miles per hour in some spots. There was even one gauge that I saw like 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
So when you
Which is literally a hurricane.
Yes, when you have those kinds of weather conditions, which, by the way, the National Weather Service did issue. We talked about that PDS, that particularly dangerous situation kind of forecast, which they don't give out often, which there, if I could clap, I would just like applause.
Keep clapping. Yeah.
I would applause.
And the repeated drops, you know, we just saw one.
Boom, 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 boom.
I'm looking at my app that kind of tracks the air assets, and there is an army of it in the air right now, which again is just amazing and awesome.
It's helpful that that Encino Reservoir is also really close by to allow them to keep moving quickly as well.
Yeah,
but what makes it even tougher, because you speak of these completely unique weather event that we have, right?
Yes.
That only happens, you know, it's so rare that you have this sort of condition.
Yes.
At the same time, it is so incredibly extreme. It's so incredibly extreme to have those weather conditions that you can't even get these fire assets in the air, which is our biggest tool in fighting the fire. If they can't get up because it's too dangerous for pilots, and at the same time, even if they were able to get up, they wouldn't even be effective because they couldn't even drop them where they needed to be. So there was no point. In some instances, when you have this extraordinary event, the only thing they could do was to save lives and property, save themselves, because there's certain situations where there's nothing that they themselves can do. And in a very short period of time, you see homes decimated in a giant swath.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, the proverbial, it's like a bomb went off.
Yeah.
You know, it truly was. Like, it just happened so quickly. But when we talk about those winds and that particular day, Tuesday and Wednesday, it's dangerous. Pilots can't fly in those kinds of weather conditions. So for their safety as well, they're just not allowed to fly.
Although they said, a lot of the officials we talked to said it wasn't even so much that the pilots couldn't fly as much as it was that they couldn't control where their stuff would be dropped. So it was basically a waste of time. And so why put them at that risk? They were confident that they could get up and fly, but it was
at
just...
least the helicopters could get up,
In regards to the wind, okay, so we're going to catch like the first of 2 rounds of stronger winds. The first round is expected, as forecast, to be later today, tonight into tomorrow. So we're going to get kind of a round of slightly stronger winds than we're seeing now. Then it's kind of it goes up and down, right? We're getting a little bit of a sea breeze that's going to start kicking in if it hasn't already. And that's going to affect and impact this fire in particular, the Palisades fire, because it's closer to the coast. So it's a kind of a weak sea breeze, a weak onshore flow, and that will give some effects, and firefighters will have to contend with that shift and change in the wind. Some of those flames, they're going to have to attack it from a different way.
Because all the Santa Ana winds means it blows towards the ocean, and sea breeze means it's going away from the ocean.
And towards land, towards homes, right? On Monday, Tuesday, as of now, the forecast does look for, or it's forecasting for slightly stronger winds even than the winds we're expecting tonight and tomorrow. So we're talking about wind gusts 65 miles an hour.
And those are Santa Ana winds again, right?
Yes.
So now we're going back towards the ocean again.
Yes, yes, on Monday and Tuesday, potentially through Wednesday. Now, again, it is not expected to be as strong as what we saw Tuesday and Wednesday of this past week when we were talking about 80, 95 mile per hour wind gusts. But 65
That's a lot of wind.
Is still very strong. And so that is why the fire danger is still with us. That is why we tell you to be prepared and to be vigilant and mindful of the danger and be ready.
Gigi Graciette, it must be really impressive to see all this in person where you are. We've been watching your camera there.
You know, I'm standing with a battalion chief from CAL FIRE, and we both are talking about how it never gets old, and we both are standing in awe. And obviously, this is his career, and he sees this all too often, really. And we're just standing in awe at the talent of these pilots. Battalion Chief Brent Pasqua with CAL FIRE, we've been watching them, and we're also watching those hand crews. Those men and possibly women out there on the front line, they're pulling, you were telling me, at least 3,000 feet of hose up the side of a mountain that's also on fire.
That's right. It's going to be at least a 3,000-foot hose lay from what I can see. Maybe over that ridge, another couple more thousand. You just can't see it all from here. But they're also cutting fire line with chainsaws and a crew down there, too, working together.
And we've seen them struggling. As a matter of fact, there was just a retardant drop, and we actually saw the plane struggle a little bit with the wind.
Yeah, the wind's a little dicey out here because it's been kind of switching around back and forth through these steep canyons. So it's still very impressive what these pilots are doing, especially when you see them drop below the ridge line that you're standing on. It's just remarkable the job they do.
And some of those very large air tankers, referred to often as VLATs, dropping up to 11,000 gallons of fire retardant.
That's right. The VLAT drops 11,000 gallons. That's almost like putting a swimming pool each time it drops on this fire. So very, very effective.
And you were explaining to us fire retardant obviously doesn't put the fire out, but it does create a very important break in the ground. So hopefully if there is no wind, that fire won't jump.
That's right. When you see these crews, they're working their way over to that retardant. It's going to be a smoldering small fire compared to a raging running fire when they get there.
So the purpose of the fire retardant, it's multi-purpose. It's obviously to protect this Mandeville Canyon neighborhood. We're on Cordelia, and if you live on Cordelia, I can tell you right now there are firefighters staged up and down your block, almost in every driveway, just in case it's needed for structure protection. But the other purpose is also to protect those men and women on the side of the mountain there that are pulling that hose.
That's right, and this is what we're used to. This is what we train for. This is how we fight wildland fires in conjunction with aircraft. They slow it down so we can get our crews up the hill, cut fire line, go directly on the fire's edge where it's safe because of the retardant, and put fire line and put the fire out.
Obviously an extremely dangerous job.
That's right. There's a lot of dangers, a lot of hazards in all situations out here, as you can see from these shots.
Yeah, just Admiral, the work they do is absolutely amazing. Battalion Chief Brent Pasqua giving us his expertise is what we were looking live at Mandeville Canyon. Again, we're on Cordelia looking out towards Mandeville Canyon. Below that fire break, below that fire retardant, it's Mandeville Canyon Road. And obviously there are homes up and down that road under a mandatory evacuation order. The fire looking much better in this section, but of course, we're not out of the woods yet with the Palisades fire. That's the latest. I'm Gigi Graciette reporting live. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Gigi. Thank you. Really, really amazing to see. We do want to tell you about the evacuation orders. These have been extended, but also now there are new evacuation centers. Here they are. The new evacuation centers opened after the Palisades fire did expand, and there were new evacuation zones. So there's Stoner Recreation Center, 1835 Stoner Avenue, and the Calvary Community Church. This is in Westlake Village.
We also want to tell you about the community meeting, which is scheduled for tonight. There are two of them. One is the Calvary Westlake. That's the church we just talked about. The other is the Oaks Gymnasium, which is at Oaks Christian High School. If you can't make it there, you can live stream the meeting via the CAL FIRE YouTube page, which we show there on your screen right now. This is for residents of the Palisades fire that want information from officials, kind of getting everybody together to do it at one time, try to answer questions happening tonight out in Ventura County.
So there are, of course, tens.
I'm gonna go. Let me see. Okay, they're just showing that on that. That's live on that. I'm gonna go back. Hold on, let's see. Let's see what we got. That was live coverage.
The air becomes drier as the red flag warning returns once again, and it's the dry air that is fueling all these fires here in Southern California. And then before we go on, that ember spray that ember cast, as Courtney also alluded to, is going to fan out. And you could get one of those embers flying 1, 2, and we've heard situations in the Pacific Palisades area. Some of these embers have made their way more than 5 miles away from the line of fire. And some of these embers can get caught up in an attic, in an awning, somewhere in a tree, in a palm tree, and they can sit there for 3, 4, sometimes 10 hours. And then finally, a gust of wind catches up to some of these embers and they explode and they catch fire.
When I was out on PCH yesterday, I was with someone as they checked out their home that is completely gone. Everything is still on fire. There were embers the size of watermelons on the beach that were flaming, and it's just smoke everywhere. So there's big gusts. But the good news about the winds that's coming Monday through Wednesday and even tonight, it won't be as strong, right, as the 70-mile-per-hour winds, which was really what prohibited firefighters from their firefight on Tuesday night.
Monday into Tuesday and Wednesday. That was, I continue to say this to people here, our colleagues, people at home watching us, that was a once-in-a-lifetime event. You most likely will never see that happen again in your lifetime, thankfully, because we saw some wind gusts that were hurricane-force winds. They're up to 93, 95 miles per hour, and not just the mountains, but down to the foothills.
You predicted that was going to happen, but did it pick up even more so?
Yes, and Rich alluded to that too. He just was talking about last night, underestimating, and we tend to do that as forecasters because one, we don't want to scare everybody. Two, you want to get closer and closer to the day of the event, and the closer you get to the day of the event, the data begins to come in, and you can see the direction of the winds. You can see the force of the atmosphere, the way that the cold air. Now, this is all generated by cold air that is coming from the high deserts, and once that cold air makes its way up over the mountains and it begins to descend, that air compresses, it begins to warm up, and we eventually see these winds getting stronger and stronger as they head towards the beach community. So,
are cold Santa Anas worse than warm Santa Anas?
Santa Anas are bad in general, but typically the compression is a little bit worse. Yeah, when that air is a little bit cooler or cold in nature, and that is very dangerous. And we're seeing that occurring, and we're going to see more of it, unfortunately, through the night into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, as well as Wednesday. Here's a look at the winds for you right now. You can see out to the San Fernando Valley near the Van Nuys area, the fire lines. This is what is concerning. We're starting to see the winds beginning to increase. Look at Van Nuys, 22 mile per hour sustained wind speeds. And of course, we're looking at the high wind warning. But right now, as you can see, the high wind warning until we get to 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, a little bit more isolated to these areas near the Eaton fire, just above Altadena, Sierra Madre, Duarte, Glendora. Then as you travel to the west, you make your way near the Santa Clarita Valley, you get a little bit of a break in the action, and then you head out towards the Santa Susana Pass, and that's where the winds pick up again. And then we're looking at the western side of the Santa Monica Mountains, making our way through the Malibu area all the way out towards Ventura County. So these are the areas that will continue to see gusts anywhere between 30, 35, 45 and 50 miles per hour. And this is really alarming. The relative humidity values, they continue to crash. Van Nuys, 12%. So what that means is we're getting closer and closer to relative humidity values that are 5, 6, 7%. There's just no moisture. That's extremely dangerous. And this is extreme fire weather that we're dealing with right now. For the time being, until we get into tomorrow evening, we're looking at the areas, the inland areas throughout Los Angeles, Ventura County. You can see those shaded in yellow, orangish on the left-hand side of your screen. That's a fire weather watch through the night and into tomorrow afternoon and evening. Red flag out towards Riverside, San Bernardino, Orange County, the inland areas. These are the areas, again, all of Southern California, really looking at dangerous fire weather conditions. And as we take a look at the wind futurecast, we're going through it. And of course, we want to welcome you here. We're at the top of the 1 o'clock hour here on KTLA. Thank you for joining us for this extended fire weather coverage. Well, as we put the wind futurecast into motion, boom, there you go. Look at this. By about the midnight hour tonight into very early tomorrow morning, These are winds that are gusting up to 50, 55 miles per hour. And again, they come out of the high deserts near Victorville, Barstow, through the Cajon Pass into San Bernardino, Riverside, Orange County, and out towards the ocean. And once again, those funnel areas, those being the Antelope Valley through the Santa Clarita Valley, the I-5 corridor out to the Ventura, Malibu County coastline. But once we make our way into tomorrow afternoon, those winds sort of die down a little bit. They're isolated more to the mountain community, some of the valleys. And then by Monday, midday, we start to see the winds picking up for the Santa Clarita Valley, Moore Park, all the way out to Oxnard, the northern section of the San Fernando Valley, also Crestline, Running Springs, Riverside, the inland areas of Orange County. And again, look at these winds all the way into early Tuesday morning. This takes us into Tuesday afternoon. The winds become a little bit more widespread by Tuesday afternoon, unfortunately, and the winds stay up into Tuesday night. We continue to see early Wednesday morning, those areas, those funnel zones, they're still picking up those strong gusty Santa Ana winds. Red flag warnings, I can guarantee you that they will be in place next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And of course, unfortunately, with these fires and the strong winds and the dry air comes the smoke, and we've got a horrible atmosphere here.
And that leads.
They're just showing actually what the fire gonna be doing. Let me see. Go here. There we go.
Assets in the air. We heard the sound. The Super Scoopers really doing it, but again, unfortunately, because of the topography here, they originally went on record saying because of it's not the high winds. This is yet last night as the fire was moving. They're saying the issue is not the wind, the issue is the topography. But I can tell you, as we're standing here live, I'm seeing wind that suddenly can become an issue. I can't help. I'm going back here, guys. I can't help because, you know, we are dangerously close to many homes here. Hopefully they're going to get to this little guy real quickly. When I say little guy, relatively, of course. Here comes a chopper right over there. I don't know if we're going to see them dump. I don't know if you guys can stick with us for a second. Chopper coming this way, headed right toward that. Hopefully they're going to be able to put that guy out because, again, dangerously close to homes. I don't need to tell you, the last thing we need are to have more homes threatened up in this area. So, but look, we're going to be here live all morning, keeping an eye on this. According to fire officials, again, not me saying, according to fire officials, dangerously fast.
All right, we are now looking at live pictures from SkyCal right now. Do we have Desmond in SkyCal? All right. Okay, we're just taking a live look from SkyCal. This is the Palisades fire burning right now. You saw our Barry Pintar reporting live from the scene there. According to CAL FIRE, now at 11% containment on this fire. So certainly that is good news that they are gaining more containment. But as you can see, the fire is still burning and still very active. And Barry was reporting earlier that they have seen more air support, water dropping helicopters, water being dropped from the air, which is, of course, certainly great news, in addition to 2 strike teams also helping in this firefight. Barry also reporting that the evacuation orders have been expanded in that area down to the 405 as well as the Encino Reservoir. Last night, we were on air all last night, and our reporter Tom Waite was where Barry is right now, and he had reported that most of the residents he had seen had already evacuated. So good news there. A lot. Hopefully all of the residents really heeding the evacuation orders and already leaving their homes. Barry told us this morning he didn't really see any sign of folks in that area, which is good news, hoping that everybody is out of that area. But you can see the picture right now, the smoke coming from the ridge line of this fire, the flames continuing to burn. Sheba, about an hour ago, Barry mentioned that there were maybe 2 separate fires burning on the ridge line, but you can see it's actually grown.
Yeah, it's multiple fires. And this is our first look really at the fire from SkyCal. Now that the sun is coming up this morning, we've seen most of the view for the rest of the morning from that Brentwood area, which is in the new evacuation zone that Barry's been telling us about. But again, this is overhead from SkyCal. And as we just reported, 11% containment we're hearing now in this Palisades fire, which is up from 8% yesterday. That was the last report we had yesterday. But as you can see, this is still a massive fire.
Sure.
You take a look at this and understand why these evacuation orders are being expanded. We'll talk to Alex in just a bit about the winds there. That didn't seem to be a major factor in this fire spreading from yesterday to today. But our Barry Pintar is out there, and he says that the winds seem to be picking up. Not what we want to hear as we take a look at this view of the Palisades fire. It's also interesting that the helicopters we've been seeing this morning drop the water. We have to remember when this fire first broke out on Tuesday, the major issue was that the winds were stopping those choppers from pouring water on these fires, and this is how they got to be this massive. So now with that firefight being able to be what it is, them being able to drop water from the sky, we hope that this does not continue to spread, but unfortunately this morning, that is the latest issue.
All right. And as we've been saying, more progress this morning fighting the Eaton fire this time.
That fire has burned more than 14,000 acres and 8,000 buildings. Now, it is now 15% contained. That's up from just 3% last night. That's a major difference. KCAL News reporter Carl Finstrom live in Altadena. You're standing in front of the destroyed Altadena post office. And you know, when we spoke with you last, Carl, you were saying you thought you had an update on containment. This is a huge update.
It is, and I wanted to make sure that it was actually confirmed before we shared it with folks at home, confirmed by CAL FIRE, up to 15%. So that's very important, especially with the winds we're expecting next week. This fire largely burning in remote areas right now, but as we have seen with the Palisades fire, it doesn't take much to whip things up again, especially when we get these kinds of winds. So that's encouraging. Behind us here, take a look. This is some of the devastation caused by this fire. There was a floral shop in here as well as a thrift store just completely burned to the ground, and they butted right up to the post office right next door, which is also gone. One of the questions of local folks has been, what am I going to do about my mail? Well, it is going to be delivered to a Pasadena post office. They'll be able to pick it up there with an ID. Take a look at some footage that we took yesterday. The cameras flew over the streets of Altadena, and it's hard to look at this, but it does give you a feel for the scope of the devastation. Just block after block incinerated. Authorities sadly have been continuing to search for anyone else missing who may have been killed by this fire. At the same time, they are tackling infrastructure issues, and there are a lot of them, from power to gas to water. No real estimate yet as to when everyone under mandatory evacuation orders will be able to come back to see what's left of their homes to start that rebuilding. FEMA and insurance companies, though, starting that process as well, working with homeowners here. The fires have also thrown the school year just kind of up into the air. Schools destroyed and heavily damaged.
I'm just really sad at that because I loved that school. I loved my friends there. I loved my teacher. I loved the playground and PE.
Are you looking to create authentic pay stubs for proof of income? The Pay Stubs lets you create high-quality, low-cost.
Lucy there, just 7 years old, such a sweet girl. Almost 2,000 students here in Altadena now have nowhere to go to school. Parents, students, alumni, in many cases losing beloved schools on top of having already lost a home. So that's another area they will be working on in the days, weeks to come. Now take a look at this. Humvees are posted at intersections all around Altadena. 500 members of the California National Guard blocking the roads and defending these neighborhoods from looters. The Sheriff's Department says a curfew is in place here from 6 in the evening to 6 a.m. every day. A captain said he understood there were rumors you could get in with your ID. That is not going to be the case. They want to continue to stop any other crimes from taking place. And back out here live, I just want to give you a look. I thought the Aldi the food market here had survived, but because the exterior walls are up, but you can see just through that opening there, even some smoke continuing to rise, and it is completely destroyed inside. Just another one of the many losses here in Altadena. So fire crews are going up and down these streets. They are watching for any hot spots that could flare up and really managing that. They're also trying to keep everything secure here, but really the best news of the far is that containment number jumped up to 50%.
Certainly good news, Cara, and it's very sad to see that Aldi store also burned. I was there the other day, so thank you for that update. All right, let's check your next weather now with meteorologist Alex Piston. And Alex, of course, the big question is...
So that's the eating area right there. We pretty much lived all over California. Lived in Southern California, lived in Northern California. Now in Southern California, I'm gonna share with you guys is that in the LA County area, it's widespread pretty much, like from like LA, you got different cities like in Atlanta, like how it is in Atlanta. You got the branch off cities next to it, but it's like bigger. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how Atlanta got the smaller outskirts cities, like they got the zone. Atlanta got the zones and stuff like that, but in California, they got like pretty much just the city itself. Pretty much like you got Burbank, Pasadena, all different, you know, Palisade. You got like Palisade. It's got its own community pretty much. We used to ride through the Palisade. It's like pretty much to like a tourist place. You got regular hardworking people that live there, and you got also you know, celebrities that lived over there, once lived over there and stuff. And it's a great place to tour, just ride through, you know, over close to near the Hollywood Hills and all that, you know. So if you know, you know, and I know about, you know, Southern California, because I lived out there for almost 15 years, about 13 to 15 years, somewhere like that. But from all this going on, man, they just, you know what I'm saying, like testament of time, like it's the time that we're living in, and on top of that, you know, it don't make it no better when you got evil people that's going out there and pretty much trying to loot or whatever. And I've seen where they captured a couple of guys that had blow torches. They was actually intending starting fires and shit. Like, what that word on came to, man? Come on now. Like, people just don't care anymore about nothing. You know, it's crazy. But definitely want to pray for them people, man, out there in California, you know what I'm saying? Because they really going through it right now. It's kind of like the end of the world. I know it probably feel like the end of the world to them, but it's not. It's still a bright light, you know, at the end of the tunnel. So just keep your head up and keep going. We're going to get back on into this video.
Is the weather going to help firefighters?
I know, that is the big question. Rachel and Sheba, good morning. So I was able to kind of work on our weather graphics here. I want to show you where our Barry Pintar is this morning. So he's in Mandeville Canyon in Brentwood. And you know, this fire, you can see it from the 405 freeway. I saw it on my way into work this morning. So we can see winds have picked up just a bit. Of course, you saw it in Barry's live shot there. We can see it from our weather computers too. Winds generally between 10 to 12, 15 miles per hour, gusting up to about 24. So as the sun is rising, we're seeing those winds tick up just a bit. And that is a big concern. OK, wind is the reason why we have been seeing all of this extreme fire behavior. So wind ticking up just a bit. We've got wind advisories in effect, a high wind warning going into effect this afternoon. This is a live look this morning. This is our LAX sky camera, but it is pointed out toward that fire, the Palisades fire, and you can just see those flames as the sun is rising. I know it's really unsettling to see that. I'm going to take a step off camera here just for a second because I want to play this wind futurecast for you, and I want you to watch something. So as I kind of tick through the hours, you can see going to 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock this morning, you can see those winds ticking up in areas like Simi Valley, about 20 miles per hour. And then by around 10:45, 11, you can see those winds expanding to Thousand Oaks, Calabasas. Santa Monica winds about 15 to 20 miles per hour. So we'll see those winds increase. This is what we've been watching. We forecasted this for you yesterday, that we'll see those offshore winds increase today and as we head into tomorrow too. So that is of concern. Now, I don't expect to see winds as strong as, what we saw a few nights ago, but winds will be strong. It is dry, and that is why we have the red flag warning, high fire danger in effect today across much of Los Angeles, Ventura County, Orange County, and the Inland Empire too. So we've got the dry conditions, we've got the gusty winds. That is bringing high fire danger to much of the region. Wind advisory, that is with us until 2 o'clock tomorrow, 2 p.m. tomorrow. So across Santa Clarita, Agora Hills, gusts up to 45 miles per hour. We have that in effect across the Ventura County mountains and even all the way out toward areas like the...
Let's see. They're just showing the wind gusts. I'll try to find some of the video. Let's see. Let's see what Mel Gibson had to say.
Do you have a team that drives for work? If you do, you know that reimbursing travel expenses can be incredibly frustrating.
Joining us now, actor and Academy Award-winning director Mel Gibson, an old friend, a Malibu resident who tragically just lost his home to the Palisades fire. Mel, I was thinking about you when I saw this fire break out. I think I talked to Raymond. I said, is Mel okay? Is his family okay? I instantly thought of you. He said he thought you were okay. And I'm glad you got out. I'm glad your family is safe. But tell us what it was like to be on Rogan's podcast when I guess you learned that your home had been lost.
Well, I didn't learn it was lost. I knew the neighborhood was on fire, then I was in the path. So I was a little tense while I talked to Joe, but he's a guy that can put you at your ease fairly well. So I was doing okay. And I knew that my family was safe and out of harm's way.
Were you able to get possessions that, of course, are really immaterial when you have your family, but I've been to your house. It was an incredible home, beautiful home. But were you able to get anything out of your house?
Not much. A few necessary things. You know, my son I said, just go and grab this and this and this. And he grabbed like 3 things and took off. And then, those are okay. Stuff like passports and a couple of papers and stuff like that. But by and large, everything was just, it looked, when I got there the other day, I went up there yesterday, it looked like Dresden, after Bomber Harris got through with it. Yeah.
Mel,
so nothing left.
For those of us watching this from afar, try to convey to us the feeling of seeing your home, your neighbors' homes, and the community there at such a loss.
I mean, it's tragic. It makes you really sad. I was actually, there are neighbors I have that I was actually looking at them. I felt worse for them than I did for myself. I look at it as a strange mixture of sadness and almost kind of an elation in a sense that I count my blessings, no matter what. These are things, and they may or may not be replaceable, but they're only things, and we're still here, and I just kind of look at it as almost in a weird kind of way a purification but of course it's very sad, and there were many things, gone in the blaze that, I've thought about since. I thought, oh damn, that's too bad, but works of art, photographs, rare books, old books, some as old as 1600, it's like crazy.
Irreplaceable.
And irreplaceable stuff. Yeah. So it is what it is, I guess. It was only a month ago that the flames threatened us, 200 meters away on the other side. And of course the wind shifted and it came in and whipped and got us from the other direction. So it was an interesting.
You've heard the.
Go on.
You've heard a lot of people say a lot of things about these fires. Obviously, the winds were horrific, but they were predicted. I know you know that last weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they said this could be tragic with these winds if any fire starts.
Sure.
Do you believe in what you know so far, anything could have happened like this?
One always suspects that it might happen, but one thinks that the resources, and the capabilities of the men and women will be on standby, that they'll be able to cope with any situation that comes up. But apparently, some people were asleep on the job, mainly our leaders there. But that's something they have to live with, but that's something the community has to live with. And it's really sad. I mean, I have many friends that are looking for a place to put a roof over their heads, and kids, and they're traumatized. Someone should answer for it, but we'll see. I think we know who the culprits are. In fact, my son he's a member of the volunteer fire brigade. He sort of interfaces between LA County Fire and people, and they assist them where they can during, before, and after the blaze. And apparently the residents in Corral Canyon caught an arsonist up there. And the guy was all tooled up with fire gear and equipment and stuff like that, ready to go. And he had been lighting fires. But they corralled the guy in Corral Canyon and gave him to the police. So
yeah, apparently
there are people actively going around looking for these conditions.
Yeah, apparently, Mel, that individual was never charged. It's a very confusing set of facts because apparently he was reportedly trying to light things on fire, but it's not the fires, I guess, that they. I mean, it all seems very bizarre. But they have not ruled out that arson could have started the first fire. There's obviously still investigating this, and at the same time, Mel, there are numerous complaints, as you alluded to, that the fire hydrants did not have water or water pressure, and the LA fire chief herself reacted. Watch this.
My stance on this is when a firefighter comes up to a hydrant, we expect there's going to be water. We don't control the water supply. Our firefighters are there to protect lives and property and to make sure that we're properly trained and equipped.
I'll pause this for a second. Check this out. Let's see. Hold on. Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you, man. Check this out. If you hadn't got some of that Rogue Energy drink, you know what I'm saying? You need to get you a canister of it. It's pretty good stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're down and you need some sort of energy to get you amped up for the day. You know what I'm saying? You can get your container of it by using my Malone TV QR code that's currently on the screen right now, and get 10% off. And because I've actually tried this stuff, and it's really good stuff. You know what I'm saying? I got packets of it right here, so as you can see that I really have tried the Rogue Energy drink. It's pretty good stuff. This is one of my favorite right here. You know, but yeah, give you some of that Rogue Energy drink, man. You know what I'm saying? By using my QR code, Malone TV, that's currently on the screen right now. You get I get 10% off once you use that QR code. Also, if you hadn't got my autobiography, my book, man, you know what I'm saying? Hustle Forward, Not Backward. Mama, I Made It, by yours truly, Charles Malone. Get you a copy of this book, man. You know, it'll tell you about me and who I am, and you know what I'm saying? Pretty much my whole life story is in this book right here. By going to Amazon.com, or you can order it from Barnes and Noble. And it's on sale right now for a low price of $9.99. You know what I'm saying? They give you a little description about me on the back of it right there. So yeah, get you a copy of this book, man. You know what I'm saying? Hustle Forward, Not Backwards. Mama, I Made It, by Charles Malone. Now we can get back into the video. Let's go. That's not what I want right there. I'm trying to see what that's not what I want to do. Where's my video at? Give me 1 second, gang. Let me see. Right there it is.
That's my position on this. So if there's no water, I don't know how the water gets to the hydrants.
Mel, reaction to that?
Well, you know, I know they were messing with the water, letting reserves go for one reason or another. They've been doing that a while. California has a lot of problems that sort of baffle the mind as far as why they do things. And then in the events like this, you sort of look, well, is it on purpose? Which, it's an insane thing to think. But one begins to ponder whether or not there is a purpose in mind. What could it be? You know, I don't know. Do they want the state empty? I don't know.
Well, Mel, there's already talk, and we've played a couple of sound bites of reimagining the way rebuilding occurs. And obviously there's a great need for high-density housing in California and across the country. That's a big push by the climate folks. And you're already hearing rumblings of that. In this case, like goodbye single-family homes, hello high-density housing.
Yeah. It's pretty scary, and it'll take decades to do that too. It's like even if it, you know, if it's a good idea, which I don't know if it is, but reminds me of the old cattle barons clearing people off the land. You know, But I don't know. I have, I can make all kinds of horrible theories up in my head, conspiracy theories and everything else. But it just seemed a little convenient that there was no water, and and that the wind conditions were right, and that there are people ready and willing and able to start fires. And are they commissioned to do so, or are they just acting on their own volition? I don't know. But they seem pretty well equipped, some of these people that they're catching.
A lot of questions. A lot of questions, Mel. Mel, a message tonight.
I'll sift through the remains of my place and see if I can find any clues for you.
Mel, any message from you to Governor Newsom or Karen Bass tonight?
Spend less on hair gel. That's it.
Yeah.
What can I say to them? Not big admirer of either, but there you go.
Now, Mel, I know multiple shows and films have been put on hold. Everyone's livelihood has been put on hold, been involved in these fires, affected by the fires. And I know you have a film, Flight Risk, that's coming out in just 2 weeks. First film you've directed since 2016's Hacksaw Ridge, which we love. The Ingram family loved Hacksaw Ridge. So what can we expect with the industry going through changes already with these fires affecting production? And I can't wait for this film.
Oh, sure. There's going to be, I think, people will have to adapt. Very few things are made in California now anyway. Over all these years, the playing field never really got leveled as far as, tax exemptions and all this advantages and you could get from making film here. So, production goes on in the various places that it does. And I think for the industry, times of crisis have always been good for the entertainment industry. Not that I'm saying any crisis is good, no, but I think people want, they want to be entertained during those times, and they like escapism and just things for pure entertainment, which is what I was trying to do with Flight Risk anyway. It's just a pure entertainment piece. But
well, we need it. We need pure entertainment. And Mel, you know what else we need? You know what else we need, which I cannot wait to talk about at length, is the resurrection. And I know you've been working on that for quite a long time. But how wonderful it will be for us to have the resurrection in film. And what can you tell us briefly?
Yeah. Briefly? Wow. It's an ambitious thing, and it's after working on it for 6 or 7 years with Randall Wallace and my brother, all of us kind of contributing to the writing. It's going to be something that I hardly expected. I think I told Joe the other day. He said, "What's it like?" Because it's kind of like an acid trip, but you're dealing with big stuff and big questions in other realms, and it'll certainly be theologically and visually and artistically for me challenging. But you got to step up to the plate and take a swing, right?
Oh no, Mel, you've never done that. You've never done that in your career.
Yeah.
Mel, I'm so glad that you're okay. You've helped me in times of crisis. When I was going through cancer, I will never forget. You called me and gave me really great words of wisdom about treatment, and you were so fabulous all those years ago, 20 years ago, actually. And so I thought about you.
Man.
It was 20 years ago. That's how long I've known you. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a long time. Yeah. We've not aged at all.
You're doing it up here. You're doing that up here. Yeah.
Yeah.
20. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little gray.
Yeah. No, not you. Mel, I'm so glad you're okay. Thank you for reminding us that our spiritual life sustains us in these very, very challenging, difficult, tragic times.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.
I'm trying to see can I go to
Trim's easy. So
a couple more of those beds. Some of them beds were just horrifying, man. Let me see. type it in here. I don't know exactly what. Let's see. That's live right there. So this is a video from Palisade.
That canyon there, most of it's going straight up in the air.
Yeah, we're beginning to see, through the, of course, we've seen an onshore flow. And so now we're switching gradually back to an offshore flow. And unfortunately,
Let me see something. I thought that was the actual bid. Yeah.
Mandeville Canyon, but more to the eastern part of the fire, not the southern part of the fire where Brentwood is. We're looking more to the east where this spot has just popped up. I was interested to see how to the Mountain Gate Country Club, and you can see there are some homes nestled down in here in Mandeville Canyon, and so they were worried, and we're talking about Mandeville Canyon is going to be, this is where we're going to draw the line in the sand. This is where we're going to bring the fight to the fire, and so that's what they've done. They've gone direct here. There's a lot of ways to fight fire. There's defensive operations and there's offensive operations. We are watching an offensive firefight. They're going to go and directly fight the fire where it's at the flames. I mentioned earlier using FOS check lines and letting the fire burn to those FOS check lines. That would be a defensive operation where you kind of sit back and let the fire do what it's going to do. We are witnessing offensive firefighting right now to directly protect lives and property. You'll see down in the middle, down in this canyon here is where they're worried that particular spot fire is going to go. So changing direction a little bit, maybe changing the focus away from Brentwood, but not forgetting about it, but moving it towards Mountain Gate.
That's on the Pacific Palisade.
I love Monday.com.
What's Monday.com?
You don't know Monday.com? This is Monday.com.
Like the coastline. High wind warning. So that's talking about stronger wind gusts of about 60 to 65 miles per hour across our local mountains, and even the Santa Monica Mountains included in that too. So again, fire weather watch, red flag warning. Really what it means is that we have high fire danger with us as we head through this weekend. Also air quality poor because of the smoke burning from the multiple wildfires. So definitely want to wear a mask if you're taking a step outside today. Try to just stay inside as much as possible because again, we've got lots of that smoke. So
Trying to find some clips, man. Give me a second. I'm gonna try to see if I can find something. Give me a second. Y'all make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe to the channel, man. Don't forget that, you dig? Smash that like button. We're gonna do this right here first.
Yes, but we're going.
Great.
Basically,
shout out to all the firefighters, man, and all the frontline workers, man. You know what I'm saying? They're working overtime, man. You know, trying to stop these wildfires. First responders. Mel Gibson told that nigga he had them stop using less hair gel.
The anxiety level is crazy. I mean, we were just going to bed the other night when our neighbor told us of the first fire. And so your anxiety goes from 0 to 100 and you just start moving fast. But, you know, in a way, it also kind of makes you realize how ill-prepared we are. So it makes you think and what's priorities and if anything good comes out of it is that you're better prepared, or you should be getting. I think we get very comfortable in our day-to-day life.
Trucks and their vehicles in our...
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines. Detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30 GMT. Only on First Post.
So, you've just finished writing your book and are ready to share it with the world. But wait, what's the best way to publish today? Think about it. Despite all the human progress over the last 100 years, the
Behind me, just one of so many examples of utter destruction across Los Angeles. There was a fire put out here right before we came on air. Fire trucks actually just going by now. We've been seeing a few of them over the past few minutes. It comes as Governor Gavin Newsom just called for an independent investigation into why fire hydrants were dry, saying in part, I quote him, "We need answers to ensure this does not happen again, and we have every resource available to fight these catastrophic fires." Well, Newsom and other officials are now facing growing questions. Right now it's questions, and they're getting loud about what could have been done to minimize the death and destruction, or whether this is just simply the way it's going to be to live here. Nick Watt is out front.
Did it really have to be this bad? No one was caught unawares here. Strong Santa Ana winds were forecast, and after months without significant rain, bone-dry vegetation was obviously primed to burn. Number one, were there enough boots on the ground to fight the flames? Easy answer, no.
We don't have enough fire personnel in LA County between all of the departments to handle this.
In a memo 2 years ago, LA City's Fire Chief Kristen Crowley said more staff were needed, with increased risk due to climate change and increased construction in danger zones. Just last month, Chief Crowley told Mayor Karen Bass that eliminating some civilian positions and cutting $7 million from firefighters' overtime severely limited the department's capacity to prepare for, train for, and respond to large-scale emergencies. Clearing brush, which is basically fuel, is crucial and mandatory. Chief Crowley says budget cuts mean they couldn't inspect to make sure the clearing was actually happening.
There were no reductions that were made that would have impacted the situation that we were dealing with over the last couple of days.
Number two, was there enough water to fight the flames? Again, easy answer, no.
Multiple homes threatened. I needed about 2 or 3 water tenders, and there were some engines. We got dry hydrants.
3 huge water tanks help boost pressure in the hydrants around here, but
we were not able to fill the tanks fast enough.
Because demand was overwhelming, and the Palisades is at the end of the city water system with narrower pipes with reduced flow. Some hydrants ran dry at absolutely critical moments, like 3 a.m. Wednesday.
We've lost most of the hydrant pressure.
Why was there no water in the hydrants, Governor?
It's all literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be.
But experts tell CNN there's not a city water system in the world that could have flawlessly handled this.
Now that we're in the 21st century, I think we have a new climate and we need to rethink our infrastructure.
Number 3, are building codes to blame? Yes and no. Anything built after 2008 is subject to some of the strictest fireproofing codes in the country, but only about 5% of structures around here were built after 2010, according to CAL FIRE. And those codes generally do not require retrofitting. So the new mall in Palisades Village is okay, and the 100-year-old mall just across the road is gone. And acres of devastation with the odd new build home still standing. Number 4, power line problems. 6 years ago, the devastating Woolsey fire just east of here was lit, like many wildfires, by sparks from above-ground power lines in a Santa Ana wind.
You could have 80-mile-an-hour winds, but if there's no spark, there's no fire.
We don't know what ignited this week's fires, but according to Whisker Labs, there were multiple power line faults and sparks around the Palisades, Eaton and Hearst fires in the hours before they broke out. If power lines are below ground, they cannot start fires. The town of Paradise, destroyed in 2018 by fire, right now rebuilding with the power lines underground. Now, this was, as some officials say, a perfect storm. The high winds meant they couldn't fight this fire from the air for those first crucial hours, and in terrain like this, without air assets, you've a hand tied behind your back.
Rest assured, we will absolutely do an evaluation to look at what worked, what didn't work, and to correct or to hold accountable any body, department, individual, etc.
HoneyBook completely changed how I do business. I'm a photographer, an independent business. It's a fact. Running your own business is hard, but don't make it harder than it has to be.
And the air here, obviously, you and I were just saying right now, is particularly noxious and toxic. There is a lot of finger pointing, and it seems that more and more of it's pointing at elected officials and decisions that were made on budgets.
Sure. I mean, so Chief Crowley came out today and she was pulling no punches, the fire department chief here in LA. She said she's a public servant, not a politician. Her job is to make sure that her people have the equipment they need to fight fires, and she says they don't. 2010 till now, she says they're dealing with 50% more calls, but with fewer firefighters. They need 62 more fire stations, she said. She said this past week they had 100 pieces of equipment in the shop because they don't have enough mechanics. So she is saying absolutely budget cuts got in the way of their ability to fight this fire. But here's the other thing she said. Even with 100 more engines, Erin, she said that they weren't going to be catching this fire.
No.
This was just getting away from them.
And,
Whatever.
And as you said, they will come up with what they say started it. Maybe it was arson in some cases, but there were also those sparking pyro lines, and that very well could have been it. And that is, that there's nothing they could have done about that, except for ages ago when they made different decisions.
How many billions of dollars did this cost? How many billions of dollars would it cost to put the power lines underground? I don't know.
I want to check in with our Nick Watt, who has been working, tirelessly since this fire started. Nick, what's the latest where you are?
Well, Anderson, what we've been doing today is hearing from a lot of people who are very angry about what happened. As the initial shock has subsided, people are asking questions. Could more have been done? Caitlin was mentioning up at the top of the show there, this issue with the fire chief here in LA saying that she didn't have the resources. She doesn't have the budget to do what she has to do, she says, as a fire chief, as a public servant, which is to make sure that her people have what they need to do their jobs. Now, the investigations, the recriminations are going to continue for some time. Governor Gavin Newsom wants to know why the water stopped in the hydrants here in the Palisades. He's also asked for President Trump to come and visit. Unclear if political posturing on either side, because Trump, of course, blamed this all on Governor Newsom and said Newsom should resign. Unclear if that political posturing is actually helpful to anyone at this point, but that's not for me to say. The other issue that I'm kind of obsessed with at the moment are the power cables. Now, we know that power cables spark a lot of wildfires. They sparked the Woolsey fire just down the road from here in 2018. They sparked that fire that destroyed the town of Paradise up in Northern California. Paradise right now, by the way, is rebuilding, and the mayor tells CNN that they are rebuilding with the power cables under the ground so they can't spark wildfires. Now, we don't know what sparked these fires here yet. We don't. There's talk of arson, but as I say, it is often power cables. So should those power cables perhaps be put under the ground? That's also a question that people are going to have to answer. A lot of people I've spoken to today, experts in the field, say what these fires should do is they should be a wake-up call. We cannot act like we're still in the 20th century. The climate has changed. We need to rethink how we build our cities and how we protect ourselves. Chief Crowley is saying that these days you need a lot more firefighters. She's saying that, you know, between 2010 and now, the fire department in LA is dealing with 50% more calls, but with fewer firefighters. So, you know, a lot of questions, not enough answers. They could take time.
That's crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, really crazy. I'm definitely go to my email to see. One second. No, I don't need that. That's what I need right here. Come back. One second. Oh, man, right there. And today is my deceased baby mother's birthday, so I dedicate this right here to her. This live to her because she loved California when we lived out there, you know what I'm saying? So this is in memory of her. California was her home. Okay, let me see. Address. See. Let's see, so. You know where I went to. Maybe I need to clean some of my inbox out. So how we gonna do it like this? Mm-hmm. Let's see. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel, man. Malone TV News. Your boy CM the Go 5, man. Back with another one. You know what I'm saying? On to the next. We'll catch you on the next one. You dig? Deuces.